I close my eyes and transport myself back to the quiet, sunlit kitchen, the scent of chicken soup simmering on the stove. Those were the days when Brad was a little boy, pulling at my apron for a taste. "Just a tiny bit, Mom," he'd plead, his eyes wide with innocence. Laughter filled our modest home, echoing between shared meals and bedtime stories. Sleepless nights rolled into long days spent tending to him when he was sick. I remember his fevered little body curled against mine, my heartbeat lulling him back to sleep. Every sacrifice I made for my son, time, energy, and unwavering support, felt worthwhile as I watched him take his first steps, score goals in soccer, and graduate high school. Yet, as I reflect on those cherished years, a deep sorrow washes over me. The boy I nurtured seems to have vanished, replaced by a man who now drifts away, almost lost. The warmth fades each time I see Brad lean toward Lisa, completely oblivious to the wounds inflicted upon me. I begin to notice the subtle cracks in our family, the glaring signs I overlooked. At first, Lisa's charm captivated me. I believed her to be a blessing, but it didn't take long for the undercurrents of tension to surface. She poked fun at my cooking, dismissing my traditional recipes as outdated, subtly belittling my parenting style. It's as if she used her charisma as a shield, obscuring her disdain behind a bright smile. Tension would simmer at family dinners, leaving an uncomfortable silence that grew thicker with every incident. I remember the laughter that once filled our gatherings, now replaced with a palpable disconnect. I quietly grasped the reality of my situation. Every time I retreated into silence while Lisa's whispers seemed to isolate me further, my heart ached just a little more. The gatherings that had once smelled of love and familiarity turned foreign, tainted by her words. My hopes of blending our families began to feel like a distant dream. Those once vibrant moments shifted to something that felt ominous. Brad, my pride and joy, now seemed to turn his back on me, surrendering to Lisa's manipulative ways. I wonder sometimes if my sacrifices will ever be acknowledged. In my loneliness, however, a flicker of anger ignites within me. I think of how I taught Brad to be strong, to stand up for truth, yet now I feel abandoned, watching this woman undermine me with her charming facade. I realize I must reclaim my narrative rather than allow my love for my son to blind me. With every cherished memory, my resolve to take action strengthens. I won't let Lisa erase my past or push me aside. The kitchen, once a refuge, will become my fortress. I long for Brad to see the truth and remember the values I instilled in him. As I breathe in the familiar aroma of my past, I know I cannot squander the love I have for my son, but I also recognize the need to act, to define my space in this family again. It's time to reclaim what has always belonged to me. When Lisa first walked through the door, I was struck by her radiant smile, a stark contrast to the mundane reality of our everyday lives. My son, Brad, was so proud, showing off his new girlfriend with a flair that made my heart swell. Perhaps it was the hope of family gatherings filled with laughter again that soothed my heart, promising warmth in my home. Little did I know that charm would soon morph into something insidious. At first, she made an effort to fit in. Lisa complimented my home-cooked meals, her laughter ringing through the air as she and Brad shared anecdotes from their lives. The four of us would gather around the table, plates piled high with my favorite dishes, chicken pot pie, glazed carrots, and golden roasted potatoes. The aromas enveloped us, wrapping us in memories of days spent in that very kitchen. Yet, even within those moments, I sensed the tension brewing just beneath the surface. It began with subtle shifts, Lisa's sidelong glances as I served dinner, the way her laughter would taper off into a stifled smile when I shared stories of Brad's upbringing. I brushed it off as typical newness, convincing myself that time would solidify our bond, believing that she would come to appreciate the history I had with my son. But then came the barbed comments, casual remarks draped in faux innocence. "Oh, Evelyn, you're still making this old recipe? I thought everyone moved on to healthier options." Her eyes sparkled with mischief at my confused expression. I felt the heat rising in my cheeks, an unwelcome warmth that spread as Brad chuckled lightly, completely unaware of the embarrassment hanging in the air like a dense fog. During gatherings, whether it was a birthday or a simple family dinner, Lisa would masterfully manipulate the conversations. I'd watch as she intertwined herself in discussions, steering them away from me with ease. I found myself retreating into the shadows of our own home, my cherished stories muffled under her barrage of quips and controlling narratives. Brad seemed captivated, entranced by her charisma. Over time, the weight of isolation pressed more heavily against my chest. I recall one evening in particular, the air thick with the scent of her favorite herb-crusted chicken, a dish I spent hours preparing. Brad raised his glass to toast, and as the words flew from his lips, "To family," I could hardly breathe. Lisa met my gaze across the table, a smirk playing on her lips as if she was drawing invisible lines in the air, marking territory. The nights grew long and lonely. I would spend hours in the kitchen, replaying the laughter of the past, the cacophony of voices replaced by the silence of an empty house. Wednesday coffee dates with my sisters became my lifeline, although even there I felt their pity. I would look into their sympathetic eyes and sense their concern, but could never express how tormented I felt. I had grown to be a shadow in my own life. Brad began to pull away bit by bit. I'd watch him defend Lisa with a fervor that broke my heart. With each passing gathering, my heart ached more deeply. The unconditional love I had for my son felt like a ticking clock, counting down to a time where all I could do was watch the bond we had crafted together dissolve into mere fragments. I began to feel as if I were caught in a waking nightmare. Lisa wore her smile like armor, fortifying her position. I wanted to believe Brad would eventually see through her charm. Yet, as the months rolled on, the distance between us widened, and I felt like an outsider in a family I had built. One evening, I overheard them in the kitchen, their laughter bubbling over as I stood just outside the door. I shouldn't have eavesdropped, but the pull of curiosity was irresistible. "Your mom is just stuck in her ways," Lisa said dismissively. "You need to choose between loyalty and truth." The implications of her words struck me like a blow. Brad's silence told me everything. In that moment, I felt something inside me shift, a determination igniting. I refused to allow myself to be the punchline of their unwritten jokes, backed into a corner while the woman I barely knew lay claim to my family. The smoldering anger suffusing my heart gradually transformed into resolve. I would no longer let their condescension dictate my existence. The kitchen, once my haven, began to feel like a battleground. I immersed myself in cooking once again, not for their gratitude, but to reclaim the space that felt stolen from me. Garlic, basil, and rosemary became my allies as I experimented with flavors and infused each dish with the passion I had for family. Lisa may have poisoned our family gatherings, but I would not surrender my heart. I would fortify myself and gather evidence of her treachery, finding the strength to forge a different path. I couldn't overlook the signs any longer. I needed to expose the facade that masked her true self. No longer would I allow my love for Brad to blind me from the truth. The warmth of the past flickers dimly, but it fuels my determination to reclaim my rightful place. As I cut vegetables with a sharp knife, I envision the confrontation. The moment I finally reclaim my dignity, I will show them the strength of a mother heart, relentless in her fight for justice. Days turn into weeks, and I find myself in an unrelenting cycle of silent humiliation. Each family gathering becomes a haunting reminder of my dwindling presence, and the mockery hidden behind Lisa's sweet smile eats away at my psyche. On the surface, everything appears normal, but I can feel the undercurrents shift with each passing encounter. It starts with small things. I recall preparing a chocolate cake for Brad's birthday. As I decorated it in the sun-kissed kitchen, my heart swelled with pride. I poured love into every layer using the same recipe I had perfected through years of practice. But when it was time for dessert, Lisa emerged with an extravagant store-bought cake, sparkling with decorative frosting and a tiered layout. "Oh, this one's so much prettier than the old-fashioned cakes, don't you think?" she declares, her eyes sparkling as she presents her creation. My breath catches. It feels like a knife driven into my chest, a silent taunt she has orchestrated just for show. The others murmur agreements, nodding enthusiastically, chattering about the bakery's unique flavors. Rather than enjoy my cake, I retreat to the edge of the madness, feeling like a ghost in my own home, hollow and overlooked. My heart sinks further as I taste the bittersweet defeat. My cake, an artifact of love, relegated to an afterthought. It's this kind of quiet humiliation that resonates within me, rippling like a stone thrown into a still pond. Subtle jabs become the norm, and I have learned to bend without breaking, choosing to swallow my pain. But inside, the anger simmers quietly, slowly transforming grief into strength. I often find myself at the kitchen table, sifting through old family photos, trying to remind myself of the love I once shared with Brad. Those images capture moments filled with joy, times when my heart felt full. I cling to the happiness of my past, hoping it can fortify me against the emerging bitterness around me. One Sunday afternoon, I invite my sisters over for a lunch that I pour my heart into. I create a feast reminiscent of summers past, grilled vegetables, herb-seasoned chicken, and my famous lemon tart. I set the table with care, layering it with my best dishes, wanting every detail to reflect my love. But as my sisters arrive, I overhear a faint whisper. Lisa, fresh from her yoga class, strides confidently into the room, disrupting our ambience. "Evelyn, what a quaint spread," she coos, her voice dripping with condescension. "It's so charming you still cook like this. It reminds me of country fairs." Her dismissive laughter echoes, accompanied by the condescending glances my sisters exchange. My heart races and my hands tremble as I slice the lemon tart, the knife gliding through the tender crust. I manage a weak smile, but inside I'm quaking. "Food made with love is timeless," I reply, a quiet resilience stirring within me. The tables are turned. My sister's brows furrow, visibly uncomfortable with the tension building. I catch their glances, shed glimmers of sympathy, but it doesn't alleviate the sting of isolation. Lisa's sweet demeanor never falters, holding her position as Brad's chosen partner, the gatekeeper of our family. With every moment of humiliation, I realize that I must leverage this knowledge to regain my dignity. I begin to document her actions, each disguised insult becoming a testament to my truth. Late one night, I slip into my living room, my heart pounding as I flick on the lamp and pull out a notepad. I write down observations, what she says, the sarcastic glances she gives, how Brad's silence paves the way for her triumphs. I note the little things, a careless comment about my fashion choices, a cruel twist of fate every time family photos are taken where I am positioned far away. The critical details unfold before my eyes, pieces of a puzzle that are coming together. a mosaic of her manipulation that I vow to challenge. Time to reclaim your dignity, I whisper to myself, as the mantra takes root in my heart, a gentle flame igniting my resolve. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. I breathe deeply, crystallizing my thoughts. I can't allow Lisa to continue to sow division. With subtlety and strategy, I need to expose her tactics while protecting my bond with Brad. I will grasp this family bond and make it stronger than it's ever been, strong enough to withstand her poison. I recall instances where laughter echoed warmly against the walls of my kitchen, the shared recipes spilling secrets and connections that felt effortless. Each old relic I remember becomes a tool in my plan. I will shape gatherings where my voice is heard, reclaiming the narrative with intention and heart. The very next weekend, I prepare for my family's Sunday dinner, confident and steady. I envision facing Lisa, ready to confront her manipulation head-on. In the warmth of my kitchen, where love once flourished, I pledge to stand my ground. As I prepare the meal, I channel not just my frustration, but also the love I have for my son. This is a battle worth fighting. In this newfound clarity of purpose, I feel empowered. I won't back down any longer. I have a family I cherish and I will protect it fiercely. The week leading to our family's gathering feels interminable. Yet within that time, a beautiful fire ignites in me. With each day that passes, I gather my courage, armed with the knowledge I've compiled. I meticulously reaffirm my confidence in the face of Lisa's cruelties. I'm determined to expose the light encasing her shadowy manipulation. I spend my evenings arranging the kitchen, ensuring that the once welcoming space transforms into my stronghold. The light filters through the curtains, casting warm tones over every scrumptious dish I prepare. Recipes flow like water, each nostalgic flavor pulling forth treasured memories from years past. Each slice of homemade bread reminds me of the connection I once held with my family. My heart races with anticipation as the scent of rosemary and garlic permeate the air. The day finally arrives. My family is set to arrive at 5 p.m., and I'm positioned front and center in the kitchen. The dining table, dressed in a crisp white tablecloth, shimmers under soft candlelight. Fresh flowers, a touch of color, frame the scene, nothing less than a welcoming sanctuary. I lay out a spread befitting a queen, marinated grilled chicken, summer squash with herbs, roasted potatoes bathed in olive oil, and my signature apple pie. As I chop the final ingredients, I let my thoughts wander to the plan I've devised. Not just any plan, but a strategic blueprint for this family gathering. Through subtleties and gentle nudges, I intend to shed light on Lisa, while softly inviting Brad into the truth without forcing him to pick sides. The doorbell rings, and my heart skips a beat. Taking a deep breath, I straighten my shoulders and put the final touches on my centerpiece. My sisters arrive first, their warm embraces bolstering my spirit. They carry delightful stories of their day, and for a brief moment the past feels alive, vibrant again. Their laughter floods my home, pushing back against the shadows. When Brad and Lisa arrive, my resolve tightens. I spot the same smug smile lighting up Lisa's face, an empty mask that grates against my nerves. But this time, I am prepared. In her hands, she cradles a small dessert, an attempt to overshadow my efforts. I brought a little something to complement the dinner, she chirps, a nearly rehearsed delight. Such a lovely idea, Lisa. I'm sure my apple pie will be in good company, I reply with a mirthful smile, my voice steady and confident. The words roll off my tongue, infusing a sense of control I've yearned for. As dinner unfolds, I position myself as the conductor of our family symphony. I bring old stories to life, reframing memories that once felt too painful to explore. My sisters laugh and interject. The rhythm of their voices bounces off the walls, creating an ambiance of comfort and familiarity. Lisa chimes in, of course, trying to monopolize the conversation, but I am more astute now, skillfully redirecting her jabs back into the warmth of shared reminiscing. Remember that time you fell into the lake, Brad? I tease gently, my eyes sparkling with mischief. Laughter erupts, buoying the atmosphere. Lisa remains silent, her smile momentarily faltering as she watches my son's head tilt back with guffaws. I lean in. I never thought I'd see you in a life jacket that day. Once again, Lisa attempts to reclaim control with a rehearsed chuckle, but I can see through her facade. It's a delicate dance, one I am ready to lead. As we pass the dishes around, I encourage everyone to reminisce about their favorite moments, inviting them to share in the tapestry of our family's history. Brad submits to the warmth, eyes glistening with echoes of joy as he recounts a story about camping trips and insisting he could catch fish with his bare hands. Lisa momentarily fades into the background, her features clouding, overshadowed by my son's revelry in shared moments from his childhood. As dessert rolls around, I serve my apple pie with a flourish. The golden crust blisters perfectly, and the scent wafts through the room, evoking the sheer joy of family togetherness. We dig in, savoring the flavors that tether us to one another, my heart swelling as Brad takes a hearty bite. Oh, wow, this tastes just like Mom used to make. He beams, not realizing the weight of those words. I feel the warmth of love wrap around me, igniting my hope that he remembers, even subconsciously, the home we built together. Yet, as the evening draws to a close, Lisa seeks her opportunity to regain control. You know, I could show you both how to make that pie. It would save you time in the future, she suggests, wrapping her words in the guise of helpfulness. The implication, however, does not escape me. Her attempts to usurp my role as the family matriarch are painfully transparent. Thanks, Lisa, but I think I'll keep that one close to my heart. I respond calmly, a newfound assertiveness coursing through me. The words hit the air and linger, drawing gasps from my sisters, yet sparking a silent acknowledgement within me that I was reclaiming my ground. Brad looks on, the fork paused mid-air, a flicker of uncertainty evident in his eyes, yet he remains vigilant, a glint of recognition lighting his face. As Lisa gathers her belongings, I can feel an unraveling within her charming exterior. My sisters share knowing glances, their hearts swelling with support and understanding. I'm beginning to emerge from the shadows, ready to stand firm in the truth I have gathered. Family is built on love and memories, and no one can rewrite that, I remind myself, igniting my inner fortitude. They can mute me at the table, never in my heart. And as I embrace my sisters for their unwavering support, my heart beats strong. A new chapter in our family story has begun, interwoven with courage and the reclaiming of my dignity. Days following that transformative family dinner feel invigorating, like fresh air filling my lungs after a long confinement. The energy in my kitchen radiates a new kind of warmth, one that I savor with every meal I prepare. Each dish becomes an act of defiance, a statement of love that I pour into gathering my family. Yet, I can't shake the tension in the air. Observing Lisa carefully, I catch her subtle digs cloaked in faux concern. She's quick to encircle Brad, her fingers brushing against his arm almost possessively, marking him as territory. It's a careful display of control that sets my teeth on edge. The atmosphere grows more fraught by the day. One afternoon, my phone buzzes with a message from my sister Linda. "Can we meet this weekend? It's important. A flutter of anticipation mixes with a thread of anxiety as I reply affirmatively. Our visits are always a comforting embrace amidst the chaos, but I can sense the heaviness in her tone. Saturday arrives, brilliant sunlight spilling into the cafe as I take my seat across from Linda, who flips through a magazine, brows furrowed with concern. When she meets my gaze, I feel the weight of unspoken words. "Evelyn, I'm worried about you. What's happening with Lisa? It feels serious." I glance around the bustling cafe, half expecting Lisa to appear at any moment. "It is serious, Linda. She's trying to take over our family narrative. I refuse to let that happen." Linda takes a moment before asking tentatively, "What about Brad? Is he aware? Is he on your side?" "Not yet, but I'm planting seeds," I reply, reflecting on the glimmers of understanding I've seen in his eyes during our last interaction. I need to remind him of the family he grew up with. Linda leans forward, concern etched on her face. "Just be careful, okay? Lisa knows how to manipulate situations. You don't want to push him too far." I nod, absorbing her words, knowing the urgency that surrounds me. I have to act now, before the distance between us becomes irreparable. We share laughter and stories, snippets of our past that provide temporary relief from my current turmoil. But underneath it all, the stakes loom high. Later that week, I learn about a family picnic hosted by Brad and Lisa. My heart sinks, another opportunity for her to stake her claim in our family. I consider withdrawing, but that would give her exactly what she wants. Instead, I decide to confront the reality of her influence and not let her dominate another cherished family gathering. Determined, I head to the farmer's market, gathering vibrant produce and ingredients with care. I can feel the anxiety brewing as I think through the picnic dishes, colorful salads, creamy potato salad, and a luscious berry pie bursting with sweetness. I want to remind them of home, of connection, and of love with each bite they take. On the day of the picnic, I load my contributions with purpose. The park is bright with families clustered together, and I find solace in the joy surrounding me. Yet, I also feel a sense of trepidation as I catch sight of Brad and Lisa sharing laughter, a sight that suddenly feels both familiar and foreign. When I approach the picnic area, Brad's face lights up as he catches sight of me. "Mom, I'm so glad you could make it." He wraps me in a warm embrace, and for a moment, everything outside that hug fades away. Setting up my dishes on the picnic blanket, I try to focus, but I can feel Lisa watching. She saunters over with her rehearsed smile, an attempt to regain control over the moment. "Oh, how lovely, Evelyn. Are you cooking again?" Her words are wrapped in feigned sincerity. "Yes, this is meant to be a feast," I reply firmly, meeting her gaze. The notion that food embodies love is real, and I want it to resonate throughout this gathering. My voice is steady, and I can see hints of discomfort in her expression. As people begin to taste my homemade dishes, I keep my focus. I catch Brad's delighted reaction as he digs into my creamy potato salad. The smile on his face is electric, sparking joy deep in my heart. "This is amazing, Mom," he declares, completely unaware of the brewing tensions around us. For a moment, it feels as if the laughter enveloping us banishes any malice, but I can sense the shift in Lisa as I see her carefully composed mask beginning to crack. The tension her discontent and rivalry generate is palpable. "Looks like it couldn't hurt to have a little more excitement," she chimes in bitterly, forging an attempt to undermine my efforts. "You know, practical cooking tips always help." I take a breath, allowing the tension to settle in my chest before responding. Family is about cherishing each other rather than competing. It's the moments we create, those little joys that truly matter. The silence that follows my assertion seems to imbue the air with a crackling energy. I see Brad's face shift, His fork pauses midair, the flicker of recognition glimmering in his eyes. He seems to wrestle with the notion, perhaps finally realizing the threads of bitterness dangling around us. As we gather to enjoy dessert, I notice families laughing together, a beautiful tapestry of shared connections. I consider the fabric of our own family, rejoicing in the essence of love that has often felt eclipsed. Drawing my courage, I decide now is the time to plant a deeper seed. Family is shaped through love, laughter, and memories, and no one can rewrite that story, I add with gentle conviction. My voice rises above the murmur of conversation, ringing with sincerity. The sun is setting, soft hues casting golden light across our picnic. In that moment, I feel the fissures within our family begin to heal. I search for Brad's eyes. They meet mine, a flicker of light there. Lisa, sensing the shift, scrambles for her footing, words cutting through the warmth. Enough about family traditions and memories. Why don't we make new ones? I glance back at Brad, whose brow furrows slightly as if tethered between the tightrope of loyalty and love. It's a brief, tangible moment where the air feels alive with tension, but also potential. In that instant, recognition blooms between us, a silent understanding. The warm embrace of our family history pushes back against her carefully orchestrated control. I stand firm, knowing in my heart that I am ready to reclaim the narrative shaped by our memories. Family is built on love, and no one can rewrite that story again, I whisper quietly, an affirmation both for myself and for the bond I cherish most. As the sun dips below the horizon, a sense of renewed strength washes over me, marking the beginnings of something profound. The picnic lingers in my mind long after the sun has set, casting shadows of possibility against the backdrop of my thoughts. I replay the moments, the laughter, the shared meals, the sharp look in Lisa's eyes when I wouldn't bend. After so many months of feelings locked behind closed doors, I sense an opportunity for change simmering beneath the surface. In the ensuing days, I reflect on how to dismantle Lisa's stronghold over Brad and challenge her influence without pushing him away. I know I need to find the right angle, the right words to confront her without creating a rift. That night, as I knead dough for tomorrow's fresh bread, my thoughts drift. Again, I think about our family, a kind of tapestry woven with memories. It's time to weave in some new threads. I decide to host a dinner at my home, a night just for Brad, my sisters, and me. A time to reminisce, reconnect, and subtly remind Brad of the family values that have always been our foundation. I plan the menu carefully, incorporating Brad's childhood favorites, dishes I once took pride in making, stuffed peppers, roasted chicken, and a dessert that epitomizes comfort, banana pudding. The kitchen fills with fragrant memories as I chop and saute. The warm aroma wraps around me like a comforting hug, and with each ingredient I add, I dedicate it to the bonds I'm hoping to fortify. I visualize our dinner table adorned with all the dishes as I lay out a fresh tablecloth to replace the one that felt like a battlefield too often. As I set the table, I choose to place family photos strategically around, snapshots of birthdays, vacations, and quiet moments where love was palpable. This isn't just a meal, it's a testament, a reminder of what family truly means. That evening, Brad arrives first, his familiar smile lighting up the room. "Smells amazing, Mom. What's for dinner?" "Just an old favorite," I say, stirring the pot with purpose. "Thought it would be nice to have a family night." His eyes dance with enthusiasm as I set down a plate piled high with stuffed peppers. As we sit, I watch for flickers of recognition, the small signs that remind him of a time when our family was whole. One by one, my sisters arrive. We share stories, laughter spilling out like drips from a faucet. the memories warm with nostalgia. I can see the hesitance easing from Brad's shoulders, his laughter blending into ours, a softening of the lines that Lisa has drawn. But then the moment gains texture when Lisa sends a text. "Hey Brad, are you coming to my place for dinner tomorrow? I got a new recipe I want to try." The message flashes on his phone in front of me, and my heart sinks as I read it over his shoulder. He pauses, contemplating her invitation, and for an instant I feel the tension rise. The prospect of her looming presence casts a shadow over our evening. But I choose this moment to act, to steer the narrative back to where it belongs. "Brad," I say softly, "how about we plan a family game night in the coming weeks, just like we used to do?" He looks up, surprise coloring his expression. "That sounds fun. I remember those nights. Do you want to set a date now?" I ask, hoping to plant the idea firmly in his mind. "Sure. How about next Saturday?" he suggests eagerly, his initial reluctance dissipating. I seize the moment, confident now that I'm reaching him. "Great. We can even invite your cousins. Let's make an event of it." Brad's excitement heightens, and I seize the shift to tip the balance of our family dynamics. News of our game night spreads like wildfire among the family. I can see Brad's enthusiasm spreading, igniting something deep inside him that Lisa cannot extinguish. As the evening unfolds, I strive to keep conversations light and wholesome, guiding us toward shared laughter and connection. It's a delicate dance, reminding Brad of the love that envelops us while subtly pushing back against Lisa's influence. I share stories of how our traditions bind us, stories filled with warmth and resilience, and I see understanding flicker in his gaze. When the dinner plates are cleared and conversations turn toward dessert, I glance at Brad, who seems content yet contemplative. I sense he is feeling something anew, a longing for our shared past that lies just beneath the surface. Hearing his voice again, he tries to connect the dots. "Mom, do you remember the summer we went camping? You made that amazing trail mix." I nod, a smile breaking across my face as I recall the fond memories. "Of course, the secret was adding chocolate to the mix. A little sweetness never hurts, right?" His laughter echoes in the room, and I savor this moment of connection, carving space for old memories to grow new roots among us. As dessert arrives, a carefully crafted bowl of creamy banana pudding topped with crisp wafers, I find it hard to conceal my hope. This moment is about nourishment in every sense of the word. "Tonight has been really nice," Brad remarks, leaning back with a satisfied sigh. "I miss this." "Me too," I reply, and something shifts in the space between us. "I want us to have more nights like this, away from all the noise." Brad nods, glancing down at his phone, which buzzes again with another message from Lisa. My heart races as I watch him, unsure if this one will change the course of our conversation tonight. But then, something surprising happens. He silences the notification without even looking at it. My heart swells with cautious hope. Perhaps he's realizing that family doesn't need to bow to external influences. Rather, we create the family we truly want to be. As the evening winds down, I feel lighter. There's a new energy encircling us, a delicate rhythm of love and laughter woven through shared memories. I know Lisa will fight back soon. She will probably try to reclaim Brad's focus. But for now, for this moment, I've bent the narrative to honor our bond, and that feels like a significant victory. Family is built on love, and no one can rewrite that story again, I whisper to myself, aware that it resonates deeper than mere words. I am reclaiming my narrative step by step, one dinner at a time. The momentum I've started to build with each dinner feels both precious and precarious. Just as I think we're solidifying our family bond, unexpected turbulence shakes the foundation. Lisa, sensing the shift in Brad, activates her manipulative tactics with alarming speed. One afternoon, while I'm sorting through family photos, the doorbell rings. I open it to find Lisa standing there, clutching a bag and wearing a disingenuous smile. "Hi, Evelyn. I brought cookies for Brad," she chirps, stepping into my space, her eyes scanning the room as if seeking weaknesses. Behind her cheerful facade, I detect an unmistakable edge of provocation. "Thanks, but he already has dessert planned for the week," I reply evenly, striving to maintain my composure. "We're focusing on family traditions right now." Her smile falters slightly, but she quickly recovers. "Oh, come on. He'd love the surprise. You know how mothers can be." My heart races. The shift in our dynamic is palpable. I refuse to let her influence cloud our gathering. "I appreciate the gesture, Lisa, but tonight is about our family. Let's keep it special." She pouts, irritation flashing across her features. "Whatever you say, Evelyn. Just trying to keep things fun." With that thinly veiled jab, she leaves, but the tension she leaves behind lingers like static in the air. The night of our family game night arrives. I arrange the snacks and set up the games meticulously, hoping the welcoming environment will foster connection. As the door opens, Brad enters, excitement lighting up his eyes, yet my heart sinks when I notice Lisa parking outside moments later. "Hey, is it okay if I bring a friend?" she calls out as she strides into the house, wearing her painted-on smile, defiance carved into every inch of her posture. "I'd prefer a family-only night," I respond tightly, my resolve holding firm. Brad looks between us, his uncertainty evident. "Can I just talk to Lisa for a sec?" His voice wavers slightly as he glances at me. "Of course, but let's not lose sight of our plans," I insist, aware that this confrontation is crucial. As he steps aside, I hear snippets of their conversation. "She's trying to control everything again. You don't have to listen to her." Lisa's voice drips with condescension. A wave of protectiveness ignites within me. I step closer, knowing this is my moment to reclaim the narrative. "Brad," I call softly, my heart thrumming in my chest. "Can we have a word?" He turns, a mix of apprehension and attraction in his eyes. "What's up?" "It's about what we're building here together," I say, my voice steady. "Family is built on love, and no one can rewrite that story again." I see the realization dawn on him, the flicker of recognition lighting his face. "Mom, I didn't mean to—" "Listen," I cut him off gently. "This isn't about me versus Lisa. It's about what you want for us." His brow furrows, and an intensity simmers in the air. "I just want to spend time with people who care for each other." With that, the incredible weight of possibility settles around us like a blanket, warming the space between us. The atmosphere shifts. Familial love slowly drowns out Lisa's dismissive tactics. Just as I sense victory, Lisa makes a last-ditch effort to reassert control. She strides over, that same painted smile masking her frustration. "What's going on, Brad?" "We had plans for tonight." I step forward, unfazed. "We're celebrating our family together, turning the focus back to what matters." Brad stands between us. He's chosen his side. "I really want this, Lisa. Mom's right." The displeasure darkens her face. It's clear she knows she's losing her grip. In that moment, I lean in, whispering directly to Brad. It's time to embrace the love that has always been here. We are reclaiming our family presence together. His nod solidifies my conviction. I can feel the tides turning, the family narrative beginning to weave itself anew, with Brad and me at the helm. As the first game starts, laughter echoes through the room, weaving an invisible thread binding us together, stronger than before. Outside, I know Lisa watches, anger simmering just beneath her skin. In my heart, I sense that her influence is faltering. Family is built on love, And no one can rewrite that story again, I remind myself, fully embodying my resolve as we step into this next chapter together.